How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at 3 more of my Shudder exclusive and original DVDs. I've actually done 2 of these previously. This is number 3, and each time I go through and I do little looks at and reviews for 3 Shudder DVDs I picked up. It's Shudder, for those of you guys who don't know, is a streaming service that focuses exclusively on horror. Now, that in and of itself is pretty cool. But one thing that Shudder's great about, that they're better than a lot of companies on, is getting their stuff out onto physical media for us physical media nerds. So it seems like about 8 months or so ago at Walmart, I started seeing these pop up, and I think you get about 2 or 3 new ones each month, and it's been a really cool thing to follow and collect them. At the end of the video, there'll be a playlist, and you can see all my other Shudder stuff there. So, the first 2 in the series. Now, I'm distinguishing this series from this little banner across the top, a Shudder exclusive with the lines. And there's also Shudder Originals. Now, I think the only difference between exclusives and originals is exclusives are things they bought, and originals are things they actually made themselves. So, bought it, and you can only see it there, and what they actually made. Now, I have 2 exclusives and 1 original, which is actually the same as the last 2 volumes. And just like last volume, these are all foreign films, so that's really cool. Get to travel the world through film. This first one is Australian, and if you remember the last volume, we did Boar, which was also an Australian movie, but Boar took place in the Australian outback, and it was really obvious that this was Australian. The Furies, you wouldn't really know that unless you stayed around and watched the credits like I did, and you saw all the Australian stuff in the credits. But anyway, The Furies, slasher movie, Halloween meets the Hunger Games. This is a pretty cool concept. You get this girl, and she is with her friend, and her friend's spray painting some graffiti. And even though she's going to college and she seems to have her life on track, her friend says, you need to learn to break the rules a little more. You're too stiff. But overall, I really don't think that that's a bad problem to have. Her friend gets kidnapped. She tries to save her friend, and she winds up getting grabbed up as well. She wakes up in a box labeled Beauty Number 6. She gets out, and she finds that there are 8 girls and 8 killers, all grouped here by some mysterious force, a mysterious organization, and she has nothing but the clothes on her back, so no tools, no phone, and most importantly for her, no epilepsy medication. Now, that's really bad, but the group that put him there put a secret camera in her eye so that they can see what's up and what she's doing, and they can track everybody. But when she has an epileptic seizure, it malfunctions, and she can see through the eye of one of the killers, and that gives her a little bit of extra clues there. Now, you may think 8 girls, 8 killers. In a normal slasher movie, a killer can get through 8 people, no problem. Really not fair, but luckily for them, the killers are also after each other, and there is some rules to it. Now, if you want to get to flaws with this film, the rules, you don't find out what they are till about halfway through the movie, and they actually are really interesting. And if I had one change, I'd say introduce the rules much earlier on. You could do a lot more stuff with them, and then they could have really played with these more. There are some girls and some killers that show up and die really quickly, and you're like, you could have done more with that. And then knowing the concept, all the people wake up in boxes, beauty or beast, and then a number. And knowing the concept, the killer, beast number 6, they really could have done a lot more with him once you know what the concept is, but they don't really do that. So yeah, the first half, she's on her own a lot, so you don't really get the relationships with her and her friends, the other girls, but Yeah, so it goes from the first half being a so-so standard slasher to the second half being really interesting once you know the rules and once all the girls are together. It gets to be really interesting at the end, you know. So there's the back, 3 of the main girls there, and below that, some of the killers there. Really cool designs. So yeah, this is a pretty fun movie. Open it up, the inner cover's the same, and the disc is the same, except for some reason it's later in the day. The sun is lower and it's darker. Not really sure why. There's the Shudder ad for this one. They put it backwards. Revenge, Nosferatu, Mandy, Mayhem, Summer of '84, and Creepshow. I need to review Mayhem. I did pick it up. That'd be fun. And then Creepshow I do have a review for, so I have a review for the season and then all the individual episodes. If you stay to the end, there'll be a Shudder playlist. Those will be there as well as the first 2 volumes of this. But anyway, that's pretty cool. You see on the front, Halloween meets the Hunger Games. Maybe a little more like Texas Chainsaw meets the Hunger Games because the killers are all designed reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw. But overall, a pretty good movie. Love slashers. Up next, Tigers Are Not Afraid, an unsparing blend of fantasy, brutality, innocence, and evil, and that quote's from Guillermo del Toro, which is quite applicable. Del Toro fans will definitely like this movie. It is a dark fantasy movie. It's set in Mexico, and in the midst of the drug wars. This girl's in class, there's some shooting across the street, they all go under their desks, and she's kind of panicking. Her teacher says, calm down, gives it 3 pieces of chalk and says, these are wishes, you can use them to protect yourself. Well, that was just across the street. She gets home okay, but she finds out her mother is taken in the drug wars. She's gone. She uses her first wish to try to bring her mother back, and unfortunately, these are kind of a monkey's paw rules, and her mother comes back as a spooky ghost, so now her apartment's not just abandoned, but also haunted. She goes next door and joins this gang of boys whose parents have all been killed by the drug wars, and they're living on their own. One of the boys has a phone that he got from one of the criminals, and all the criminals are after that, so they're not out of the woods yet. While the wishes are part of it, but when you think of wishes, you usually think like Wishmaster or something. Not exactly like that. It's really a crime movie first, but there is lots of fantasy elements, lots of ghost. This tiger toy that they have, sometimes she sees it like it's alive, sometimes the graffiti moves. And in regards to tigers, tigers are kind of the symbol, you know, tigers are not afraid. It helps them stay confident, you know, so it's a thing like that. This is one terrific film in 2 minutes as Under Its Spell from Stephen King. So lots of cool people saying good stuff about this movie, and this is a really good movie. Some of the critics are going really crazy over it, and you know, maybe not the absolute best thing ever, but it still is a really good movie. In part 2, I reviewed The Night Shifter, which was another Central American film, a crime-ridden city about a mortician who could speak to the dead. So crime and supernatural, you know, maybe that's the next wave in really cool horror films, is Central American supernatural crime films. I wouldn't have guessed it, but Night Shifter is really good. Tigers Are Not Afraid is really good. But overall, a really dark crime film, and it went several darker places than I thought it would, some really surprising moments, and I definitely recommend it. Inner case, same as the outer case, and the disc, they move everything over, and they scoot the logo over there, and you get the graffiti big. So disc is the same as the outside, but rearranged. And here's the Shudder ad from the front this time. Revenge, Channel Zero, Nicolas Cage and Mandy. And this try Shudder 30 code is not unique to me, so if you want to use that, you're not stealing, so try Shudder 30 there. But yeah, really good, dark fantasy. It says a quote from Guillermo del Toro on the front. If you are Guillermo del Toro fans, especially his early stuff. You definitely want to check this out. Really, really good. But yeah, good, dark. At first I didn't really know what to make of it because it was so different, but then I really fell into it, and I was like, really wanting to know what's going to happen next. Up next, the third one, a Shudder original. This is the original of the bunch. Party Hard, Die Young. And it's got a glow-in-the-dark cover, his face and the logo, and I think the spine actually too. I'm right next to a big bright window, so I can't actually show you the glow-in-the-dark, but it's just the outer slipcase. So if you want the glow-in-the-dark, make sure you get one that still has a slipcase. But anyway, this is a German film, and I guess I should mention German, Spanish, these both have dubs. Tigers Are Not Afraid actually has a pretty good dub. Not perfect, but really good. A decent dub. Good. But this one, not so good. 20-25% of the voice actors are fine. Okay. But the rest of it feels like early bad PC video game voice acting, like from a point-and-click adventure. There's some voice acting here that just doesn't work with the tone of the movie. I mean, they're clear and they're enunciating good, but the emotion is not there, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from the characters' mouths. But anyway, what is this movie? So you get these group of kids, and apparently it's a thing in Germany when you graduate high school to go to this big, giant party. And one thing, a weird thing when you talk about a culture shock, is this giant party full of drugs, alcohol, and just, partying all night. But it appears that this is actually, at least in part, it looks like it's actually put up by the school. And the idea that a school would send high school students on a alcohol-filled bender just seems really strange to me as an American, but different cultures, I guess. But anyway, this girl, she is about to pass out, and she sees her best friend, who she just had an argument with, get attacked by this guy, a killer in a smiley face mask. But because she's about to pass out, and she just had an argument with her friend, no one really believes her, and then plus the friend's phone sends a message to another friend saying that she's just gone off with a different group of people to party. So no one really believes her that her friend got taken up. And then there are a few other accidents or disappearances that might be related to this killer as well, and for the longest time she's having trouble convincing people that there actually is danger. So it's kind of a cool concept, and the biggest thing this movie has going for it is the setting, a really cool neon-filled party, but I found it more cool than it was spooky. But this movie, more than the others, definitely has some flaws. First and foremost, the characters. They're all kind of generic, but like half or more kind of fade into the background, where if you were to show me a picture of one of the characters, I wouldn't be able to tell you if that was a character or a background character, and you remember like, oh, that's your main girl, that's the funny one, but they don't really stand out. And then there's the mystery. This does have kind of an I know what you did last summer element to it, but the mystery is primarily dumped in two big chunks, big chunk of it, and then later on the final details, and it's not unraveled slowly where you get little pieces of it. And yeah, the mystery wasn't handled too well, plus they do the whole thing where it's like, hey, maybe it's this guy, maybe it's this guy, but like I said, when you have a problem with the characters, the fact that it may be one character or another when you don't really know the characters doesn't add anything to it, because it's all, maybe it's this guy, maybe it's this guy, what do I care, I don't know them, it's one generic guy or the other. But the biggest thing for me was the horror. I never really felt scared. And it's not like you're running around or feeling a sense of danger until the very end. It's mainly just her at this party and everyone's feeling happy. And she just thinks that there's something off, but no real way to prove it. And it's just her wandering around a party trying to convince people there's a killer out for like the first half. And, it's a cool but not scary location, and it didn't really do the tension right. And it's kind of a subjective thing to say, but I just didn't feel the horror. And also, one thing, and it really is just a flaw for me, I guess, but this movie really did make me feel like an old man, seeing all the kids partying and just me sitting at home going, kids. But anyway, it's okay, not great. Like any other B slasher, you know, but not really a bunch of gore or scares, really. So, you know, a B slasher, but if you're looking for gore and cheap scares, you know, not really those there even. But if you want kind of a mystery element, if you like to see people party, that's really more your thing. Again, the undercover does not glow. Obviously, the disc does not glow. And this disc, same as the front, but the title's in 2 lines of 2 words this time, so it fits under the hole. There's the Shudder ad again. And overall, this one was fine. Not great. Okay. It's definitely the weakest of the 3. I definitely recommend the Furies, and definitely recommend Tigers Are Not Afraid. Those 2 are really, really good. And then Party Hard, Die Young's okay. If you have Shudder and you have a night, might as well stream it. Nothing I'd particularly go out of my way for. But the other 2, pretty good. I'd say check them out. I'll be back again with more of this series soon. Volume 4, I'll be looking at One Cut of the Dead, Belzebuth, and The Marshes. Now, I don't know if I'll get to Volume 4 really, really soon. That might be in January, because I think I'm going to be focusing on Christmas movies for December. But if you guys would rather have more Shudder originals instead of Christmas movies, and you want to get those sooner, let me know. I'll listen to you guys. But December, that's time for Christmas horror. Gonna be doing things like Gremlins and Jack Frost, all that cool stuff. So keep an eye out for that. If you like horror, I do about 95% horror on this channel, so I definitely recommend sticking around for that. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. Thank you for watching this far. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. I'll put the relevant playlist at the bottom. That should be the Shudder playlist. So, relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. And hey, it's almost Christmas. Well, actually, almost Thanksgiving, then almost Christmas. All right, see you guys soon. Have a good day.